Okay. So come in to sit in your chair. If your feet aren't flat on the floor, put a cushion or something underneath to raise up the level a little. I'm going to grab a cushion myself. Make sure your bum is to the back of the seat. And take a minute to let the shoulders just to relax. Let them drop down, away from the ears. Crown of the head is extending upwards. You can close over the eyes if you like. And just take a nice deep inhalation and just letting it go out through the mouth. Allowing the breath to soften, the body to soften. You're dropping down out of the head and into the body. And just become aware of how the breath is coming in and out of the body for a moment or two. Do you feel it in the chest? Do you feel it in through the nose or in through the mouth? Maybe you feel it right down into the sides of the body, in the ribs or in the tummy. And take a minute or two to notice, do you need any adjustments in your seat to be a little bit more comfortable? And if you want to, you're welcome to sit a little bit away from the back of the chair to have a kind of an awake seat. But if that doesn't feel right for you today, that's absolutely okay. You can just stay with the back onto the back of the chair. And become aware of the connection points, whatever they are with the seat. So if it's your back, or if it's the sitting bones and the backs of the legs, all the way down to the feet connecting with the floor or with whatever surface they're resting on, if they're on cushions. And notice then as well, if there's any areas of discomfort or irritation. It's not trying to change it, it's just being aware that it's there, kind of acknowledging it without trying to push it away, just gently being aware of its existence, just breathing into it if you can. What would it be like to maybe have it be there without trying to push it away? I'll read you a poem called Bannock by John O'Donoghue. On the day when the weight deadens on your shoulders and you stumble, may the clay dance to balance you. And when your eyes freeze behind the grey window and the ghost of loss gets into you, may a flock of colours, indigo, red, green, and azure blue, come to awaken you in a meadow of delight. When the canvas frays in the curve of thought and a stain of ocean blackens beneath you, may there come across the waters a path of yellow moonlight to bring you safely home. May the nourishment of the earth be yours. May the clarity of light be yours. May the fluency of the ocean be yours. May the protection of the ancestors be yours. And so may a slow wind work these words of love around you, an invisible cloak to mind your life. Taking the hands together and just rubbing the hands together, noticing how the hands are feeling. Maybe interlacing the fingers, and you can keep the eyes closed or you can have them open, whatever you prefer. Just interlace the fingers and closing the hands for a second. Then opening the interlace and move them one finger so that it feels awkward. So it's the wrong kind of interlace. And then uninterlace them again, and then go back to the original linking of the fingers. And then turn the hands inside out, pressing the insides of the hands away. And you might tuck the chin into your chest, lifting the arms up as high as you can, as high as is comfortable. And that might only just be in front of you, or it might be right up overhead. But try wherever you are to keep the shoulders down away from the ears. And then bringing the arms back down in front of you again and resting the palms of the hands on the lap. If the eyes are closed, just gently blinking them open. And bringing the gaze, so you can keep the head wherever it's positioned, but only moving the eyes. Look the eyes up towards the ceiling and then down towards the floor. Up towards the ceiling, down towards the floor. And then bring the gaze to the center forward. And then bring the eyes to the left and then to the right. To the left again and then to the right. And take a minute, closing over the eyes again, because sometimes if the muscles feel tired or weak, that can feel like a lot on the eyes. So taking a break whenever you need to, but then opening up the eyes again. This time, look up in the top left-hand corner and in the bottom right-hand corner. Top left-hand corner, bottom right. And then the top right, bottom left, top right, bottom left. And back to the center again. And once more, closing over the eyes. This time, rub the palms of the hands together and cup the hands over the eyes. Just a little darkness over the eyes, just to notice how the eyes are feeling. They feel a little sore or even watery or dry. Does it feel comfortable maybe having the hands over the eyes? And maybe it doesn't. It's, just trying out a couple of things to see what works to help if the eyes are feeling tired. Then taking the hands away again, shaking out the hands, shake out the fingers, shaking out the wrists. Coming back to the center, opening up the fingers as much as you can and then tighten them in. Opening up and tightening them in. And this time, imagine you're holding a wooden stick or something, or even a spoon, and you're scraping all the food from around the bowl with both wrists. So you might hear a few little cricks and cracks, and then change direction the other way. That's it. And then shaking out the wrists again. And one more exercise just for the hands. So if you have soreness in the base of the thumbs, it might feel a bit tender, but just go breathe into it as best as you can. So one hand is facing away as if you're saying stop. The other hand comes across the palm of the hand and you're giving a bit of resistance. So one hand is pressing into the other. One is pulling back and the other one's pushing forward. Try to keep the shoulders down. And you might feel a deep stretch in the inside of the arm. Wherever you feel it, just tolerating the level that you can. Don't push it until it's painful or anything like that. And then release. Shaking out the hands, and we just do the other side. So press the other hand away as if you're saying stop, and then the palm of the other hand goes in across the front of it and press. So there's a resistance in both arms. And you might feel it right up into the shoulders, into the neck. Just giving that little bit of resistance gets the blood flow into the shoulders. And then release and shaking out the wrists and the hands again. If you feel that you want to do a few clicks or cricks, just going through each digit individually. And then I have to take off this cardigan because I'm roasting. And we're just going to do an exercise with the shoulders before we come to stand. So holding the side of your chair, taking the other hand and placing the palm of the hand at the back of the neck. If you find that that's too much and the hand just comes to the shoulder, that's fine. But if you can, you're gently cupping the back of your neck so that the elbow is looking to point up towards the ceiling. So wherever you are with this, you can close over your eyes if you like. And what's happening here is you're opening up the hand. So when you turn your hand, that opens up the shoulder joint. And then when you bend the elbow, that shoulder is in the right position to hold the back of the neck. And then just lean over to one side so that you get a stretch in the side of the body. So you're stretching the side of the body where the elbow is lifted. That's it. And you can look up towards the elbow if you like, or just keep the eyes closed. And if you feel that there's a discomfort in the neck, you can just gently move it from left to right. And then coming back up to center, release, place the other hand down on the side. So once again, turn the shoulder joint first by turning the hand to face outwards. Then lift it up and bend the elbow, cupping the back of the neck and reaching that elbow up towards the ceiling. And again, the neck might feel a little bit uncomfortable, just moving it gently, breathing into the whole side of the body. And then coming back up to center and release it, shaking it out Once more, we'll do a little hug. So bringing the hands towards the shoulders if you can, or else they're around the sides of the body. You can tuck the chin in towards the chest, and then opening up the arms and closing them over the opposite direction. Tuck the chin in towards the chest. And give yourself a little hug and release. Then moving away anything that's on the floor so that your feet have a clear space to stand on. There isn't anything that could slip. And shimmy the weight forward. So we're going to come forward into our ski position. So feet wide to give you plenty of balance. Knees are slightly forward in front of the ankles, but you're going to keep the ankles and the knees like in a straight line. So make sure the knees aren't going out to the sides or falling into the middle. And then reaching the arms forward, you're leaning forward. So you're in a ski position. Imagine you're skiing right down the mountain. So the hips are lifted off the chair and you're using your legs, the upper thighs, to hold that position. And then you're coming up to stand, bringing the arms by the sides again. Lovely. Now, turning the chair. Make sure that there's no way that if you leaned on the chair, that the chair would slip. That would not be good. So if you need to jam it into the side of the table or anything like that. Perfect. And just making sure, because sometimes when you're not used to using the chair, you might put too much pressure on the chair and the chair might move. So you don't want that. You want to be able to use it just as a little kind of a balancing aid. So turn to the side and we're going to do a little balance. So the side that's holding the chair, you're going to use the middle. So you have the outside leg for balance. We're going to use the middle leg. The hand can rest on the hip. And we'll just begin by lifting the knee up in line with the hip and back down again. We're just slowly and with control lifting the knee up in line with the hip and back down again. And try to keep everything in line. So the foot is staying at a right angle to the lower leg. So as you bring it up, see the way that you want to try to keep that everything in an angle. Right angle. And back down again. This time, bringing the foot behind. You might be just sliding the foot behind, but if you have the strength to lift up the lower leg, lifting it up behind and placing it back down. Either sliding it back and just stretching the hip flexor. Make sure that those hips stay facing forward, or if you have the strength, lifting it up and just pressing it back as far as you can. So you're kind of doing the opposite to this. You're bringing it back, but only as far as is comfortable. And one last time, down and back and up and down to the floor again. This time we're going to go out to the side. So lift the knee up in line with the hip, bring it out to the side and bring it back to the center and down to the floor. Once more, lifting up, out, back into the center, back down. And we're going to do the other side. And then we'll do nice little roundy movements there. So I'm going to move my chair. Or you can walk around to the other side of your chair and just make sure you have plenty of space. This time, hand on the hip and the outside leg, lifting the knee that's closest to the chair and back down. So what you want to try to do is make sure that you're keeping your knees down. Make sure that you're lifting your knee no higher than your hip, that your hips are pressing forward. So lifting the knee up, breathing in, placing the foot back down, breathing out. And if you haven't done that 3 times already, just do it another once or twice, however many you need to do it to come to 3. Perfect. And then when you're ready, we're going to go behind. So you can slide the foot back. Or if you're bending the knee and pressing the foot back as far as it'll go, you're either doing this or you're bending the knee and pressing it back so that you're stretching the hip flexor and placing the foot back down again. So 3 times as well. Foot back, bending the knee, and back down again. And if you haven't done it a 3rd time, just making sure that you do that. 3 times each side, and foot back down. If your legs are starting to get a bit sore, just give your feet a little walk out. But if you feel comfortable then, whenever you're ready, lift up the knee and bring it out to the side. Bring it back to the center, back down onto the floor. Slowly and with control, breathing in Breathing out, breathing in, breathing out. Slowly as you need to go. And last time, up, out, in, down. Okay, now we're going to do the tree pose. So keep a hold of the chair, or if you have a lot of balance and you're quite comfortable, you can bring the hands into prayer position. Otherwise, keep a hold of the chair and hand on the hip. So bending up the knee that's closest to the chair, and then turn the knee out to the side. Rest the heel on the inside of the other calf. So your toe is on the floor. Let me just dip this forward so that you can see. So your foot will be resting like that. The standing foot that's flat is pointing straight forward. The other foot is turned to the side with the heel resting on the inside of the leg. If you feel comfortable, you can slide that foot up onto the inside of the calf, but beware, like you're really working on that other hip. If you're very, very comfortable and you want to bring the foot up to the inside of the upper thigh, obviously Elish and Fran, that's for you. Dad and Mom don't. Although if you want to and you can, don't let me stop you, but don't rest it on the inside of the knee. And then the foot comes down again, knee back to the front, place the foot down on the floor. We're going to do the other side. So get yourself into position again, hand on the back of the chair, bending up the knee that's closest to the chair, other hand on the hip. And then when you're ready, turn that knee out to the side, so that's externally rotating your hip. Rest the heel on the inside of the leg. Try to keep an engagement across the tummy, shoulders are relaxed. If you want to, you can slide the foot up to the inside of the calf. Or if you want to go further, bring the foot up above the knee, making sure not to press on the knee joint at all. Okay, wherever you are is absolutely fine. Foot, it's all the tree pose, so don't push yourself into a position that makes you feel very uncomfortable. And then when you're ready, bringing the foot down onto the floor, if it's not already, turn the knee to the front and rest the foot down. And then turn to face the back of the chair. So we're going to stretch out the back, the length of the spine. Bring the feet back so that you're at a bit of an angle and drop the hips down as if you were going to sit down on the seat. So you're stretching out the whole length of the body. And then look under one arm. So you're twisting the torso. And then look under the other arm. So you're straightening one leg and you're slightly bending the other. Do that again. Look under one arm. And turn to look under the other. You might feel that into the hamstrings and into the bum muscles. And then look back down at the floor again. Bend the knees and come back up into standing. Step forward. So one more movement that we'll do for the hip joints before we come back to sit again. So bringing into balance, this time you're keeping standing on the leg that's closest to the chair, hand on the outer hip. You're lifting up the knee, you're coming across the midline of the body and rotating the hip all the way back. So imagine you're a ballerina bringing that leg to the front, out to the side and behind, and then coming back to the front again. So a nice big circle with the hip, only as much as is comfortable for you. Obviously, any restrictions there, if the best circle that suits you is a small one with the toes on the floor, that's still perfect. You're still moving up into the hip joint and into the rotation of the full leg. Okay, so it doesn't have to be a big circle, it can be a small one with the toes on the floor. And then coming back to the center, and we do the opposite direction. So your foot might start at the back and rotate all the way in. And you might hear a few little clicks and cracks again. Just doing it 3 times on each side. And then walk it out. You can feel it in the standing hip. You just do the other side. Okay. Hand to the outside of the hip. Bring the weight into the standing leg. And however you're doing it, if the toes are staying on the floor and you're just rotating the knee in a circle, or if you're doing a big circle, lifting up the foot and coming right behind, coming to the front, whatever way you're doing it, just feeling it into the hip joint. You'll feel it into the upper back or lower back as well, sorry, upper sacrum, the sacrum. And then when you've done 3 times, just doing it in reverse. So we're doing a nice inward circle. Up into the hip joint. And then back down. Lovely. Turn your seat so that we can do our return to the chair. Now make sure that there's no way that that chair can move on you, okay? Because we're going to do the lowering down using the thigh muscles, so not using your hands at all. Feet, hip width distance apart, so nice width to your feet. Bending the knees, leaning forward. So coming back down, check that you can reach that chair. So you know when your bum comes down onto it, that you're not too far away. Leaning forward, hover the bum over the seat. Don't sit down yet, keep the arms forward. Use your tummy muscles and your thighs. And then when you're ready, lowering down. Brilliant. Do that every single time you get up and down. Every time you remember, because it just helps strengthen those thighs. Now, bum to the back of the chair again. Give ourselves a little hug for that amazing work. Arms out to the side and arms across the middle. Tuck the chin in and even roll forward a little to give a little rounding to the back. Coming back up, opening up the arms and hug it in the other way. Rolling forwards. Coming back up. And this time just rest the palms of the hands down on the upper thighs. And come to sit right to the back of the chair this time. Bum to the back of the chair, crown of the head extending upwards, eyes can be closed over. Feet are relaxed on the floor. And notice how you're feeling in the body, all the way up to the crown of the head. Anything that you may have noticed at the beginning, like anywhere where there was any discomfort or irritations, are they still there? How are they doing? Did you notice them throughout? Or any points that feel really relaxed, even if it's your little finger? Just taking a minute to notice how it is in the body at this moment and how your breath is. And I'll just read you the end of this poem again while we finish up the practice. May the nourishment of the earth be yours. May the clarity of light be yours. May the fluency of the ocean be yours. May the protection of the ancestors be yours. And so may a slow wind work these words of love around you, an invisible cloak to mind your life. Bring the hands together, rubbing the hands together. Interlace the fingers in one way, squeeze the hands, opening up and move that interlace so that it's uncomfortable, and squeeze the hands and open them up again. And placing the hands at the top of the head, just give a little kind of pressure to the top of the head. Notice how it's feeling. Bring the hands around to the front of the face, cupping over the eyes, enjoying the darkness or the temperature of the hands. Then bring the hands down along the face. Notice how your jaw is. Like, is there any clenching, or does it feel relaxed? Or do you need a drink of water? Or what do you need after this? And then to the neck and throat. Does the neck feel okay? The throat. And then one hand on the tummy, one hand on the heart. And take a nice big deep breath in so you can sense both hands moving. And then the breath out through the mouth. Bring the hands together. Lifting up the elbows, so feel that pressure against the hands, dropping the shoulders down. And then releasing the hands, placing them back on the lap. And when you're ready, just maybe blinking open the eyes. Coming back to the Zoom room.